Hi everybody and welcome to Baker Madness 101. I am Chef Scott and today we are going to continue our journey through the absolute basics of baking and pastry. This technique is something that all of you are familiar with if you've ever made a batch of Toll House cookies. Let me clarify something. I paid for and experienced a full year at the Culinary Institute of Le Cordon Bleu, and I told you that I would take you through my 3rd edition Le Cordon Bleu Professional Baking Textbook. And I will, but not exclusively. First, I realized that the 3rd edition Le Cordon Bleu Professional Baking Textbook is copyright protected material. And secondly, and almost more importantly, the formulas and recipes are developed for technique and practice, not necessarily flavor. So there are no Le Cordon Bleu Snickerdoodles. Instead, I pulled up one of our old catering recipes and compared it to a half dozen on the web. I think ours still holds. So come with me now, because I'm going to show you how with the creaming method. Haha! Welcome back to my luxurious living room mega studio. Today we are going to talk about creaming. You've all seen this direction. Cream, butter, and sugar together until light and fluffy. But what exactly does that mean? What's light and fluffy? And what exactly are we doing? Well, creaming is more about aeration than mixing ingredients. Creaming actually pumps air into your batter, which helps with lift and makes your cookies and cakes that much lighter. Initially, the sugar granules will tear through the butter and draw in air, but as the water begins to melt the sugar, you'll see an increase in volume as well as a lighter color, eventually almost reaching a place where it's puffy, or as the recipe says, light and fluffy. We'll get to the creaming, but like so many formulas, I'm going to set up my dry ingredients first. The reason is because once the wet ingredients start going, you often don't have time to scale. So this is 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, APF. This is 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. This recipe calls for baking soda and cream of tartar, which are the ingredients of baking powder. So, could I substitute baking powder in this formula? The answer in this case is yes, you could. But the baking powder is a lot more homogeneous. Snickerdoodles are a version of sugar cookies, but they have a distinct tang, a sour flavor, a very light tanginess to them. That's the cream of tartar. That's the acid. You won't get that flavor with the baking powder. It's just not strong enough. Also, the baking powder will have a much faster reaction, which can mess with the classic look, feel, and taste of our Snickerdoodle cookie. Are there recipes out there that use baking powder instead? Of course. Are we going to use them? Not today. We're going old school, old fashioned. So, baking soda, cream of tartar, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Just going to give this a little whisk. Mix those ingredients up very lightly. I'm going to set this to the side. My Snickerdoodle recipe starts with a 1/2 cup of butter. This is Kerrygold butter today, something really special. There's not a lot of ingredients, and so you want your ingredients to be the best. This is 1 1/2 cups of sugar. And now it's going to get loud. We're just going to mix this up. Now you can see how much closer it is. It's holding together a lot better. It's all smushy. It's pretty homogeneous. Now this recipe, I should have looked earlier. I wasn't really paying attention as a professional. We only have a half a cup of butter. We have a cup and a half of sugar. So our creaming of this one isn't going to be as obvious as another recipe, but you can surely see how smooth that is. It doesn't break apart like it was earlier. Okay, moving on. Here I have 2 eggs, and I have added 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now this we only want to do one at a time, okay? One egg at a time, and watch what happens. Boop. Just going to scrape this down real quick. Make sure we get everything incorporated. Look at that. That looks really beautiful. That looks really nice. And now I'm going to add my dry ingredients. Sometimes they'll tell you to try to add them slowly. I find that you can over-mix them pretty good if you add it slow, so I'm just going to put everything in, and we're going to start on a low speed so we don't fling this everywhere. And here we go. Let me do this last bit by hand. All right, it looks like we're ready to scoop. You want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Here I have 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. It looks very dark, the cinnamon, but remember, we only have a teaspoon of vanilla in this, so the cinnamon is going to be part of the flavor profile, so it's not so bad. Now I'm going to use this is my 2 tablespoon scoop. And drop my dough ball right in the cinnamon sugar. Roll that around in there. Boop. Right on my tray. Okay, I've got 12 on this tray. Now, in a home oven, if you're not using a convection oven, you should only bake 1 tray of cookies at a time. This is because of the way the airflow goes. So I've got these about 2 inches apart. I'm going to do 1 dozen right now. We're going to bake at 400 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. And watch them really close towards the end because you don't really want them to take on a lot of color. You just want them to set. We'll see you right away. Ha-ha! Perfect cookies. So scrumptious. They look great. What do you say we take a taste? Oh, let me break it open for you. Look at that. Look at that. Really nice, tender inside. And the sugar and cinnamon on the outside gave it a very, very thin, crispy crust. Oh. Mmm. Mmm. They're really nice. And there's such a great flavor to them. It's a really nice flavor there. Creaming is so important. It brings air, it brings volume, it brings homogenized batter. It is one of the original techniques, and as you can see, is super easy with today's modern electrical implements. Right? Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want, and click that little bell button. And I'll see you next time on Baker Madness. I think I need some coffee or a milk or something. See ya.